Episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett has dropped. We're over halfway through the season, so let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. What did you think about this week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and what are you thinking about the season as a whole? As this is a spoiler review, feel free to spoil away down below in the comments section. I'm going to kick things off with my general thoughts on the last 2 episodes, and then I'll start talking about some more specific spoilers, and let's get started. And to give my general thoughts on the last couple of episodes, I thought that last week's episode was pretty safe to say the weakest episode of the show thus far, and I thought this week's episode was probably the strongest episode of the show thus far. And finally, at the end of this week's episode, I felt like there was some story momentum. There was an end to an episode that made me go, oh, I want to see where that's headed. Oh, I can't wait to see what's happening next week. And that just hasn't been the case up to this point in time. So as for why was last week's episode probably the weakest episode, well, the strongest elements for me up to this point in time have primarily been kind of the flashbacks. And in last week's episode, those were minimized to spend time on the present timeline. And it moved things forward a little bit. It gave us a few more answers, gave us some action set pieces, but it didn't move things forward enough. It was still just kind of doing more of the same thing of who's behind the assassination, why don't people respect him? Same kind of stuff they'd been doing in the first 2 episodes. And then adding to that, they added in this biker gang that just felt like leftovers from Alita Battle Angel. If you don't know, one of the primary directors for this season is Robert Rodriguez. He directed Alita Battle Angel, and it involves these like biker gang type people getting mods with the character design of the modded bikers in episode 3. Who directed that episode? Robert Rodriguez. I mean, just literally just felt like leftovers from his past project that he just kind of pulled over here. Doesn't really fit in Star Wars, and as much as it spent more time in the present timeline, it didn't move things forward enough or in an interesting enough way. And then he moved to this week's episode, and it was 2/3, 80% flashbacks, bunch of time with Fennec, but it felt like we actually were getting pointed towards something a little bit more. And then as you moved into the final moments when we did actually move into the present timeline, though we only spent like 10 minutes there, it actually set up what we were aiming towards. Like, what is going to make this interesting? What is the big epic showdown that we're supposed to care about? Finally kind of gave us that in the final moments, in which case I started getting invested in that plot line. It's just taking way too long to get there. So 4 episodes in, only 3 episodes left. I'm enjoying it enough because it's Star Wars and I enjoy this type of thing. I'm really not feeling like they did a great job with this season. And by doing the 2 timelines, I think they sabotaged both of them a little bit. And picking one or having more episodes would have done them a lot of favors. But as is, it just feels like 2 timelines competing with one another, and both of them underdeveloped in having to skip through things a little bit too quickly to get everything crammed into 7 episodes and still feeling underdeveloped. That's in general what I'm feeling, that this show is feeling like a big missed opportunity. But at the same time, it does, at least at the moment, feel like we probably will get a good payoff with the last couple episodes. There will be a nice showdown, big stuff happening. Just wish there was a lot more. The intrigue was there in the first half of the season as opposed to only having payoff. And maybe it won't even pay off. I sure hope it does. All right, from there, let's kind of move into more specifics and some spoilers. Okay, so last week's episode only spent a little bit of time in the flashbacks. And right off the bat, the way they're doing the flashbacks, I just think is kind of goofy, where they literally, like, to set up what's happening, they want to remind us that Boba Fett is dreaming about all this stuff. And so they put him in his bapta tank to heal him up, and then they show him taking a nap, and then it cuts to the past. I think that's just a goofy way to do that. People understand 2 timelines. People understand flashbacks. You don't need to cut to him taking a nap every time you want to cut to the past. So right off the bat, I think that was just a weird way to show this. And then from there, we go into the past and we see Boba kind of continue what he did in episode 2, brokering a deal. We find out the bikers already collecting. We got a problem. Boba goes back, and all of his Tusken friends, all of his Sand People friends are dead. And when that happened, I was like, really? What? Like, you got me invested in these characters, made me think that this is going somewhere, and it's just supposed to be like they're killed off to teach him compassion, and he had a tribe and he lost it, and really? That's all that was for. Like, it felt like they spent just the wrong amount of time with the Sand People, so that when they died, it didn't have that much of an impact, but it had just enough that you think it should have felt more. So we see they're all dead, and I was like I just felt let down, because it felt like there was much bigger, more interesting things that they could have done with this, which we'll talk about later on when Boba's needing an army. And he had one. We'll get back to that. But so I just thought that was just kind of like, what? Really? This is already done? They're already out of this? We 2 episodes out of 7 with them? What? I don't understand that choice right there. Like, this feels like this should have been much longer. And even in talking about my episode 2 review and how they were very much pulling from classic fallen hero goes primitive, goes native plot line that you saw Dance with Wolves, Ferngully, Pocahontas, Avatar, The Last Samurai. They're very much pulling from that for episode 2, and then we get here, and it's just over with. It's like, oh, okay, we're not playing that out. We just did that for 1 episode. Okay, that was an awfully big, epic journey for like 2 episodes, just to be like, and then they're all dead. I just think that was an odd choice. So then, in the present day of last week's episode, Boba's trying to get control. Someone says there's a crime being committed, so he goes to confront the people that committed the crime. Turns out it's some bikers that were being cheated, so he hires them, pays off the water guy, and now Boba Fett has a new set of people on his team because he hired them, as opposed to just punishing them for not being able to pay for water. And immediately they just looked off. Just looked like a very strange kind of design of just too vibrant, too colorful. And they're characters that they did some of this on Coruscant in Attack of the Clones. You saw some of this just very vibrant, colorful street people. You know, see this on Tatooine. So it just like felt out of place. Just like color scheme was like, I don't get what we're going for here. It just felt cartoonish. And as I said before, it felt like people plucked out of Alita Battle Angel. So then other stuff kind of goes on in here where our Wookiee friend shows up to try and kill Boba in his sleep. And then they're able to battle him off, catch him in the Rancor pit. Then the Hutts just show up and apologize, say that they're leaving, and offer a Rancor and Danny Trejo as their, paying tribute. Let's let all bygones be bygones. We just felt like what's kind of going on here that we're just like, they sent an assassin in the next scene. They're like, just kidding, we're leaving, and here's a gift. So, I just like it's very strange plotting. Like, I'm not invested. It's just like twists, turns, things happening, but not in a way that I'm invested in it. It's just very odd. I just thought it's so odd that they sent an assassin, and then immediately it's followed up by, bye. So that's not where this was headed. We're changing things up pretty quickly on this one. And so there's some nice little moments with Boba and his new pet, the Rancor, and Danny Trejo showing up. And so finally Machete got to make it to space. So that's fun and all. And, some people are like, oh, they domesticated the Rancor. Like, well, this doesn't feel like the most domesticated creature. I don't think if you phrase it the way that... some of the things people are complaining about on the internet are kind of odd to me. And then they go confront the mayor, and we have another chase. Felt cartoonish once again. And it just kind of like felt like stuff happened, but it was just more kind of back and forth. Is it the mayor, or is it the Hutt? Is it the mayor? Is it the Hutts? More assassins, more people on the run. But it didn't feel like story progress of like, what are we really building towards here? So then we get to this week's episode, and it is... It's like 2/3, it's like 80% set in the past, and immediately kind of pick up, and you see Boba exploring Jabba's palace, and then you see a ship and Mando's theme, and you immediately know what's going on. Like, you immediately cue into the timeline. And I think that's another thing I think that with having Boba with the Sand People only for 2 episodes, you really don't get a good sense of time. Because that means that the first 3 episodes of flashbacks, 5 years pass. Mando's supposed to take place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And so 5 years passed in those 3 episodes, and I didn't get that vibe at all. I got like 6 months maybe. Like he got mixed in with them, and then he was starting to get accepted, and then they're killed off. And if you stretch this out and play it out a little bit differently, so he's with them for a good bit of time, and you can, instead of microwaving your storytelling, you tell it slowly, you get a much better perception of the passage of time. In which case, when you get to this episode, wait, that was 5 years? That was all of that? That time was just right there? I don't know, I think you just need a lot more there. Just need more time with the Sand People for me to get a true sense of the passage of time, so that when they died, you really felt it, as opposed to it feeling like, yeah, he was with them for a little bit, he started to get accepted, and then he got killed. Yeah, okay, so he's upset about that, but I don't want it to be that big of a deal. Oh, he was with them for 4 years? He was with them 3, 4, 5 years? Like, oh, well, that's a little bit more interesting. That's true time to get absorbed with it, but he's with them 2 episodes, and then they got killed off in the 3rd. So, but this kind of establishes that timeline. Fennec, that episode from season 1 of Mando, and we kind of pick up with that last shot where you saw him walk up to her body, and the implication that it was him in that episode, which was a nice little touch. And kind of figure out how he saved her, learning about the mod people, and maybe that's why they needed to be established in the last episode. Still don't know why they're so cartoonish and so straight out of Alita. She gets fixed up, and she's only going to work with him on this one mission to pay him back. They go into Jabba's palace to get Slave 1 back, and clearly they work well together. They like each other. They seem to have be in sync with one another. So she agrees to continue working with him. They go to the Rancor, or they go to the Sarlacc pit to get his armor back, which sort of think back what exactly happened in the first episode. Like, how did that start off, that he thought that his armor was still in there? Like, how did that play out exactly? I'm trying to remember the timeline of, like, he breaks out of the sand, and then when did he pass out? What would he have remembered? Why would he think that his armor was still in the Sarlacc pit? Because this is the audience, like, your armor's not in the Sarlacc pit. Why would you think that? And I guess he did just kind of break out and was in crazy mode or whatever before the Jawas got him. But so he goes in there, and we see the ultimate fate of the Sarlacc pit, and we get the moment where someone informs him, like, hey, man, you're going to mess yourself up playing around inside of a Sarlacc pit like that. You're going to seriously hurt yourself. But he doesn't find his armor, of course, and learns that he needs to start taking baths, thus setting up the baths that he take, setting up the flashbacks that we're currently in as we're learning about why he decided to take flashback baths. And us as Mandalorian fans know where his armor really is at. And I don't know, this kind of interesting if we'll get Cobb in this next one. Will Cobb show up in the finale? How exactly will some of these pieces play out? I really like Cobb, so I hope we get more Cobb. In the end of this one, I'd have a lot of fun with that. He seems like a character I was hoping we'd get more of actually in this show, and maybe we will be in the last 3 episodes. But seemed like you get Timothy Oliphant, make him like a sheriff that carried Boba Fett's armor for 5 years, protecting a little town. Seems like someone you'd want to use as much as you could. Now we have a whole show set on Tatooine, and we got a guy also using that same armor, needing allies, wanting protection. Seems like there's a way to tie this together that would make sense. So we go back to our present timeline. Boba gets out of his bath, and they're like, you're all healed, which I guess by implication means that we're not going to do any more flashback baths. I guess that's what it could mean. And we're pretty caught up in the flashback timeline that it could be finished there. And so it just wants to spend the next 90 minutes to 2.5 hours in the present timeline, building out its alliances and showing this war, which I don't think is a terrible idea, except for the fact that I really think we could have stretched out that whole Sand People plotline for more episodes, really get us invested in that even more. So when they died, you felt it even more. Or maybe you don't kill them off. We'll get to that in just a second. So he's all healed up, decides to go into town, and we see our Wookiee friend has a nice bloodthirst in him, picks a fight for no reason, rips a guy's arm off, even though, is it Jennifer Beals tries to talk him out of it, rips the guy's arm off anyway, and Boba decides to hire him, because, who doesn't want a crazy Wookiee? He needs allies, he needs someone that can be the crazy muscle, so he hires the crazy muscle with this guy. Then we see Boba throw like a big meeting with the different heads of families on Tatooine, and he's telling them his plan to go to war with these people that have been sending assassins after him. And they're like, hey man, we don't have a fight with them. You have a fight with them. We don't want to go to war with you or with them over your fight. And then he goes, okay, well, here's my deal. Call it neutral. I'm going to go to war. They come to you, call it neutral, and we're good. That's all I ask you. Just tell them you're going to go neutral in this deal. Don't side with them. And so they all agree to that. And then the episode closes out with him like, hey, do you trust those guys? You're like, well, I trust them to do with their best interest. And those guys have to know eventually those guys are going to come after them too. And so they're going to want to side with what I said to them because I cut them a better deal. I'm being more reasonable with them. So I think that they'll go along with what I'm saying. And they go, well, we're going to need an army because we're going to war. And then plays the Mando theme. Thus, heavily implying that Mando's going to be prominent in the last 3 episodes of the season. That Boba needs allies. Who does he know that's a guy that might owe him a little bit of a favor, that he also knows is very good in a fight, that also would want reasonable leadership, who has some friends? Mando. Thus, the first time in the whole season, an episode ended, and I went, oh, that's where we're going to have a war, and he's going to go get Mando. Well, that's fun. Which is almost kind of funny the way this works out, that one of the big, teases of Mando Season 2 was Boba Fett shows up, we're going to get some Boba Fett. Oh, he's going to team up with Boba Fett, and then this season just reverses it. Oh, he's going to team up with Mando. The guy from the other thing's going to be in this thing. Okay. But we have actual story moment. We know what the target is. There's a war heading, so he needs to get allies. I know what I'm working towards. I know what I'm excited for. I know the tension, the conflict, the enemy, and the obstacles in the way, so I can care about what's happening more so. First 3 episodes, it was people don't respect me. I need to do something to get respect, but I don't want to just be violent, so I'm not just going to kill people. Episode 2, I want respect, but I'm not going to just kill people. Episode 3, I want respect, but I'm not just going to kill people. People don't respect me. All the same thing. This one has something different, plus the promise of Mando coming. All right, now back to what I said before of I'm a little bit confused by the way they did some of this. So after episode 2, a couple days later, I'm at church talking with a friend about the season. We're talking about Boba Fett. I'm waiting for it to kind of kick into high gear. And I was talking to my buddy, Prescott. Hey, Prescott, if you're watching by chance, bringing our conversation up. And we started talking about the fact of okay, Boba is trying to gain respect. He needs an army. He needs allies. In the past, Sand People are his allies. Sand People are the ones that he's building this alliance with. I wonder if they're going to show up in the last few episodes as his allies in an upcoming war. So that seemed pretty clearly where this was all headed. That you have these Sand People that he has an alliance with. He's trying to gain power, showing him being political in the past, and now we're seeing him political in the present, trying to build all this up. Oh, of course, there'll be his army, and then he'll take command, and the Sand People will finally have power. And you get to episode 3, and they're just killed off. So the people being set up as an army of his won't be involved in the clear coming war? That's an odd choice. And we get to the end of this episode, and I go, that was an even weirder choice. You get to the end of the episode 4, man, if only I had an army, if only I had a set-up, a group of characters set up that I have an alliance with, that trust me, that work with me for a common goal. Who could that be? Who could... He had it. It was all right there. And then they killed them off to give him kind of this I don't know, like, that he's sad that they died, that he found a people and they were killed off, so he wants revenge. Oh, I forgot, we killed them off in this episode. Like, it's, his revenge plot against them, it's just a blip. I need to get slave one so I can go kick these guys out, and they just fly over and kill, or they're all dead. Let's move on to the next thing. They're like, if you're going to set up these characters that he cares about, you kill them off, he wants revenge, and then it's like nothing when he gets revenge. You've done something very wrong. Whether you paid it off wrong, you built the threat wrong, or you just went in the wrong direction. And that you weren't telling a story, you weren't telling a revenge story. And this show's not a revenge story, so using the Sand People to have like a mini little revenge plot in episodes 3 and 4, weird. And maybe we'll get into the next few episodes and realize there's some Sand People out there that cared about him, somebody survived, they went off to the other Sand People. Maybe something like that. Maybe we will get Tusken Cavalry shows up or something like that. It still could happen. But as is with where things are set up, with the way things have played out, I just don't know. Why would we spend 2 episodes setting up him having an army that he's trained, that were natives to this planet that lost it to technological guy comes in so that you could have that big victory if they kind of have control of their planet but not as dictators or anything. It's all set up right there to be this big gigantic victory of him teaming up with them to a better Tatooine, a better run Tatooine. And then they're just killed off. So that Mando can come back. I'm down for more Mando. I'm fine with him coming back. I just don't get where they're going with this. Like, it just feels like the thing that Prescott proposed to me at church felt like would be a bigger, more satisfying journey for the season that would tie the 2 plot lines together in a big way. Like, oh, this whole thing in the present timeline is the payoff of what he was doing with the Tuskens. It's the ultimate culmination of what he started talking with them about at the end of episode 2. And then finally they're able to kind of reclaim their planet. That's pretty cool. Or the season is just about Boba Fett being like, I'm tired of working for dummies and I want to make more money as a ruler that's not stupid. I mean, I don't mind that, but you felt like you set something better up. So, I don't know. In general, it's a show that I like being in Star Wars world. There's definitely some fun action sequences and some of the nice Western vibes work for me. There's just a lot of stuff in here that just feels like I feel like they just went the wrong way. They got it wrong. They tried to tell 2 stories, so both of them feel underdeveloped. I don't get the way that they're deciding to tie them together. It's not as satisfying as I think it could have been had they gone in a different direction that I even feel like they set up in the season itself. So I think of our live action Star Wars seasons thus far, maybe the last 3 episodes just blow me away. Without question, this is easily the weakest of the 3. That just a lot of missteps, strange choices, and storytelling without enough urgency or forward momentum. And we're just now getting to the point where it's exciting, and we're over halfway through the season. So that's kind of where I'm at on the show. It feels like the last 3 episodes are going to be the best 3 episodes. It feels like the first 3 were just like a bunch of very slow burn setup, weird choices, and then going to get a bunch of payoff for the last 4 episodes. If that happens, maybe it'll move up. We'll see. There's a lot of potential here for it to end much stronger than it started. I'm hoping for that. Let me know what you're feeling down below in the comment section. This seems like a pretty polarizing show. I'm seeing a lot of people polarizing show. I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter loving it and a lot of people on Twitter hating it and thinking it's like by far it's just like terrible. And I'm like more like right there in the middle of like very disappointing, but it's still Star Wars, so I enjoy it enough. That's where I'm at. Let me know where you're at. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much.